And welcome back. Bruce Porter joins us now for this week's Dollar and Cent segment, sponsored by the Resource Center. Always good to see you, Bruce.
Good to be here.
You know, we started a subject last week, and I think we got a little recap that we need to do, but we need to get into a couple of other facets of that.
Yeah, we talked about the 5 tips for better financial health in 2022. You know, we talked about the ideal situation. If you've got steady income, if you've got a growing cash balance, which we always hope everything's moving forward.
Of course.
If the portfolio we have is going up in value, there's no sudden changes up or down. And we just got regular expenses. You know, I write 7 checks every month, same 7 checks.
So then it's set. You've got the perfect world.
And yeah, right. And so that would be euphoria, right?
Yes.
Now, that's hard to get to, so there's certain things we have to do. We talked about 3 topics for tips last week.
Right.
Let's talk about 3 and 4 this week, or 4 and 5.
4 and 5, right.
4 and 5. You know, identifying your buckets of cash. You know, I've used buckets on the show in the past. It's that simple. Our tagline is simple solutions in a complex world. You can set 3 buckets out: short-term, medium range, and long-term buckets. Now, short-term expenses are your budget items: rent, utilities, a house payment.
Those 7 checks
payment.
you write every month.
That's 7 checks, same 7 checks. That's my short-term. I put money in, and it immediately goes right out for expenses.
Right.
Now, if I'm planning a trip, maybe a spring vacation, or if I'm going to do something this summer and I'm going to travel, or let's say that my washer and dryer's on the fritz and I'm trying to save a little money, so this fall I'm going to have to buy me a washer and dryer.
Right.
Well, that comes in more of a medium range bucket, to where those are planned expenses. You know, whether it's an upgrade of your car, or a washer and dryer, or a trip, or you know, something like that. That can also kind of be identified as an emergency fund.
I was going to say.
A reserve fund. You're not going to spend it today, but you may later. And then our long range bucket talks about long-term retirement planning, either through 401k contributions, or start out trying to save money first.
And start doing that now.
That's right.
All right,
never
here we
too
go.
soon.
Our 5th tip.
Strengthen our emergency reserves. I think under the last 2 years, one thing that we've learned, life can be uncertain. And, you know, I've talked to a lot of people that had to fall back on their reserve cash. And if you think you've got enough, 3 months, 6 months, why don't you boost that up a little bit? Go ahead and save another 3 to 6 months. Get plenty of cash reserves, because everything's a little bit uncertain.
Sure.
The markets are uncertain. There's a lot of financial stress right now due to uncertain economics, politics, things like that.
The only certainty is uncertainty.
Yeah,
Really.
and if that's a concern, you can never go wrong by having additional money in your cash reserves. Forget about your investments. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you really want to tighten up, review your budget, go over the 5 things we've discussed the last couple of weeks, look at your reserve, see if there's a way to tweak your budget to put an extra $5 or $10 a week in reserve, and before you know it, you've got a few extra bucks, and it might make you feel better.
And all of this can be kind of bundled almost into this last thing. Always be able to take care of yourself financially.
Absolutely. When you consider that, remember, at the end of the day, if you're forced to stay home, you know, your employer may not be able to pay you. So you need to be able to kind of take care of yourself. And now, how long, what's the uncertainty of that? We don't know. This is all new to all of us. But I think we've learned over the last couple of years, I don't think you can be overly prepared financially. So I think building reserves can be a big benefit.
But don't make the mistake of thinking that planning is just for out there.
No.
Because you're talking immediate, you're talking midterm, and long-term. It has to go into one bundle.
That's right.
You know, you do seminars from time to time on, a plethora of different subjects. If people are wanting to keep track of those, might want to come to your seminars, how do they get that info?
QR code, you can scan that with your phone. You can look at our website, find out when our next events are. We do lots of different events periodically during the year. call 882-1800. Be glad to get you into one of our workshops. Educational workshops are just that.
All right.
Why not educate yourself?
Bruce, always good to see you.
See you next week.
Dollars and cents. We'll be right back.